Call the Town of Rome Police and Fire Commission meeting to order for Monday, April 11th, 2022 at 9 o'clock a.m. Roll call starting on my right.
Vito present.
Baker.
Beck is here.
Painting.
Also present is Commissioner Benkowski by phone. Also present are Chief Lobby, Chief Kane, and Administrator Jamie Gebert. And in the audience we have Lori Giamatti. Item number 3 is to certify the posting of the meeting. Greg?
I certified the meeting on Friday, April 8th, 2022, Daily Tribune at 8:24, Rome Town Hall, Police Department and Fire Department at 9:10, Leicester Library at 9:15, and I posted at Nakusa Port Edwards State Bank Saturday the 9th at 2:20 p.m.
Thank you. Item number 4 is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion?
I motion.
Second by Pat.
Motion by Vito, second by Pat. Is there any other discussion? Hearing nothing, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5 is a citizen comment portion of the agenda. I do have a card from Lori Giamatti to speak, reference the fire chief, which will be Lori when that comes up under new business on 9B, I believe. Item number 6, which no action contemplated except possible referral of future agenda. Informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Does anybody have anything they'd like to mention or bring forward? Hearing nothing, then we're going to move on to 6A, which is the Police Department report. Chief?
In March, I attended staff ambulance, Adams County Interdisciplinary Team meeting. Officer Jason attended Drug-Free Adams County. Officer Spansky attended the week-long crisis intervention training in Rapids. Officer Sis was the instructor for that training. In March, officers handled 84 calls for service, issued 36 citations and 22 written warnings. Reminder for residents, it's the time of year when we start to see ATV usage increase in the town. Users should review legal riding areas and maps and ensure units are only operated in permitted areas. Driving off trails and onto private property without permission can result in the issuance of citation and possibility of trail closure by landowners. Remind residents, as I always do, in the spring fire danger is extremely high and we'll have a zero tolerance for illegal discharge of fireworks. If a device leaves the ground and explodes, it's usually unlawful without a discharge permit. The permits issued at roadside stands indicate specific place for discharging fireworks. None of those are in the town of Rome, so discharge would be illegal and subject to a $250 fine. Routine maintenance was done to the fleet in March, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Questions for the chief? If anybody has any? Do you need this? No. Anyone? Hearing nothing, then we're going to move on to 6B, which is the fire department report. Chief Kane.
Fire Department report for March 2022. We handled 3 fire calls, 2 EMS calls, and gives us totals out for the year of 6 fire calls, 6 EMS calls, 3 calls for hazardous condition, 2 service calls, 3 standbys or disregards, and no false alarms. Our current membership is at 28 members. Heather Dalton joined us this month. Our trainings for March included GPS use to locate victims and baseline vitals, foam operations and application methods, wildland equipment refresher including UTV operations and chainsaw safety, rescue techniques, air management, and radio communications. The fire department monthly meeting was held on March 16th. I've attended meetings with Adams County Public Health, Town Board, the BFMR EMS District, Town Administrator, and the Police Chief, and I also attended the Wisconsin Paramedic Conference in Oshkosh. Staff education, spring fire classes have begun with multiple members attending both entry-level fire and now moved on to Fire 1 and entry-level driver operator. Routine maintenance and inspections have been performed on the trucks. Preventive maintenance and DOT inspections are continuing. 603 experienced a failure in a foam delivery system and a fire pump gear case. Total repair costs came in at $18,000. We were able to cover $8,000 for the foam system with 2% dues. First semester fire inspections have begun for our commercial occupancies. Short-term rental inspections continue with new applicants with renewals set to begin. Multiple property owners have reported that they've brought their lots into compliance with the brush and tree ordinances. The compliance status has been reviewed by fire department staff along with the town intern. And zone 2 and 3 inspections have been completed by the town intern. Our annual recognition dinner was held on March 18th at Lake Arrowhead. And that will conclude my report.
Chief, when you talk about fire foam, do you wanna talk about, we don't have any PFABs in our fire foam. I mean, they have been taken out of fire foam, but as far as we know, we didn't have any foam that contained PFABs in it.
PFAS, correct.
PFAS.
The
PFAS.
correct. We are using a Class A foam that is non-PFAS. Our foam actually comes from the Department of Natural Resources, and it is in the environmentally friendly version, so we are not contaminating groundwater with anything PFAS related.
Thank you.
Answered my question.
Mark, I don't know if you wanna touch on it or if Jamie does, but you wanna explain what happened? We have a new town zoning intern, correct? You wanna explain what that responsibility of that person is?
So we were just fortunate that we could have an intern this year. There's someone that's transitioning from military service into civilian service. So when I say intern, I don't mean college student or that it's a regular program that we've lined up with a university. But we have the intern until the end of June, and we had split the town into 5 areas a year and a half ago, and she's going through and reviewing those 5 areas for major zoning items, not just brush and timber, although the majority of them have been brush and timber. But she's also looking for nuisance properties, political signs that are outside of the time frame, a series of other regular zoning items, questions that we get, campers. So, but again, the vast majority of the items that she's brought forth are brush and timber.
How much does she work on a weekly basis?
She works 8 to 4 almost every day.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
right. Any questions for the fire chief on his report?
I get one. Is that gonna turn into a full-time job then?
Likely not. We were just fortunate that we had
Oh,
someone
okay.
that could help us.
Oh, nice.
Again, the goal when we divided the town into 5 quadrants was that we would be able to do it 1 quadrant a year and cycle through the town. We were fortunate that we got an intern, so we could do more quadrants. The hope would be that now we would go back into our 5-year rotation because we've done a big review of the entire town.
Doesn't the fire department have a inspector that does the same thing?
We do the commercial and short-term rental fire inspections. We were taking care of the brush and timber inspections. Have very much welcomed the help of the intern to be able to speed this process along, and we will more than likely reassume the duties after the intern is done.
So let me process this. What happens is when they go out and they're checking on any violations, code enforcement, as I would know it as, and then you send a letter to the homeowners to comply?
Yes.
And how much time do they have, or can they, before they start going through the criminal justice system here?
So it will depend on the violation. Something like campers or unlicensed vehicles, nuisance properties, is a lot less in time frame than brush and timber. Brush and timber is usually given 6 months. Often that's because, one, they would need to find a contractor or work out some sort of agreement. It's not something that could maybe be done in a weekend. And 2, because we have restrictions on cutting oak from April 1st through July 15th. So the individuals that got brush and timber complaints, they vary in time frame from when the letters were originally sent, but it's the end of October through the end of December that they would have to comply or show substantial progress.
Okay, do they work, this may be for Greg, do they work hand in hand with, like, the association? Cause they have their own, with ordinances too.
With us, as far as tree cutting, it only deals with whether it's close to the golf course and things like that. We don't have anything about cutting oaks.
No, I'm talking about anything violation, any code enforcement, I mean,
Almost all of it goes through the town,
really.
yes.
So that whole big, telephone book size of ordinances is for what?
Of our covenants, well, if you read through the covenants, we have things about, you know, having to keep up your property, but there's more teeth in the ordinance for the town
Okay.
to get things done.
The
So-
town does not enforce, sorry, I didn't mean to cut.
Go
you.
ahead.
The town does not enforce property owner covenants. So there are things within Lake Arrowhead's covenants that we would not enforce. So, but we do enforce brush and timber, they also enforce brush and timber.
Right.
But so section 4, which doesn't incorporate a large portion of Lake Arrowhead, so far had the highest number at 281 complaints. And I did touch base with Jill at the office and let her know that the letters were being sent. Because obviously if you wanted to contract with maintenance and work through that process, then they knew that that might be an influx to their staff, yes.
Okay. Any other questions for the fire chief regarding his report? I did notice that you're up to 28 members now, so your staffing is improving. Is that just because of your ongoing recruitment process, or?
The ongoing recruitment and we had a huge turnover of folks. It was just a timing thing that where some of our members moved out of town or left the emergency service world completely, and we've been able to rebuild now. I think we're up a total of 7 actually 9 from our lowest numbers. We were down to 19 at one point.
Now they're all going through ongoing training, but they have to get the firefighter 1.
We had state of Wisconsin requires entry level fire to be able to enter a building. We are going to continue to strive to get our folks trained all the way through Fire 2. And the first batch of the new recruits that we have brought in are currently in Fire 1.
Good.
Excellent. Any other questions for Mark? Okay, thank you, Mark. Item number 7 is discussion only items. There's nothing there to bring forward. The next section is discussion and possible action on the following items. Number 8 is approval of the January 26th, 2022 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll motion.
Pat, a second.
Motion by Vito, second by Pat. Any other discussion on the minutes from January 26th? Hearing nothing, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item number 9, are any agenda items which may include action, expressly state that the action may be taken or contemplated. Under 9A, old business, boat patrol report. Is there anything, Jason, you can update us on as to what your amount was or anything?
I had that amount and I didn't bring it with me. I can email that out. Boat Patrol right now, we're working on recruitment for the 2022 season. We did just get the town, Amy got the check for the reimbursement for last week, so.
Okay, and you have, the new boat, is that up and running now?
It's still at Evenson's being equipped.
Okay. Is your old boat still usable if need be, or not?
Yes, so the 16-foot boat we'll probably get rid of, and that would leave us the boat that you saw in the lake last year and the new boat.
Okay.
We got kinda one that was a not really used for boat patrol. It was a service type boat to put buoys and that stuff in. We'll probably use the old patrol boat as service and patrol and get rid of that 16-foot boat.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the boat patrol? Okay, the other section, the next one is, Officer Jason's permanent appointment. When is her probationary period up?
Next month, I believe May 17th,
Okay.
so shy of anything happening between now and that date. Performance, everything is average to above average. If you were rating across all fields, so a good officer at this point.
Okay, and I know, well, I guess we can't get into too much, but otherwise that would be a closed session issue to deal with the, any personnel problems or anything like that, but so far,
There is none. So fully acceptable performance for a probationary employee.
okay. Anybody have any questions on Officer Jason's appointment that we could, talk about? I guess then I will make a motion that the, Officer Jason be permanently assigned to the Rome Police Department, barring any unforeseen circumstances that would happen between now and the time her probationary period's up. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Vito. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
So just back to that boat patrol report quick, we have 2 officers that we hired, Helen Schrock and, Bree Jamberitz. Helen is been doing police clerical, so on the weekends she'll do the boat, and Bree is on the fire department and just starting interest in a law enforcement career, so I have those 2. We're still doing interviews with applications that we received. We had to advertise twice. The first advertisement, we didn't get hardly any interest. The second advertisement, we have 14 applications that
wow.
came in. They were due last Thursday, so.
How many hours a week are these guys on the boat? And it's 2-man patrol, 2 men on the boat, right?
It's just weather dependent, 20 hours,
A week?
usually 10 hours on Saturday and 10 on Sunday.
And then obviously any special holidays that come in
Right,
between
right.
4th of
So
July.
what you're saying, when high volume days?
Some Friday evenings ads. I would average it at 20 hours a week throughout the summer.
And I think you had mentioned to me at one time that you're going to try and supplement the boat patrol with regular officers if, like retired officer Mark Stashik, if Mark wants to work, in order to build up the dollar amount that's sent to the DNR for reimbursement.
Correct, and just this year we'll have to do it for experience purposes because we don't have any returning boat patrols, so the power car people will go out with these boat patrol officers we hire and do the training.
And I'm assuming, like in previous years, you want to have them trained and ready to go by Memorial Day weekend?
Correct. And on that weekend, earlier in the afternoon, we'll probably send the power car or perhaps Mark or somebody with them, just to get familiar
Sure.
with the lakes and how to interact with it.
So the only lakes we patrol then are just the 3 lakes here? Right, Penwell, Camelot, and Lake Arrowhead?
Sherwood, Camelot, and Arrowhead are the main 3, and Petenwell, if there's areas of concern that are on our,
Now, we don't get no assistance from the county or the state? They don't have a boat?
DNR well, the DNR wardens are out here occasionally, and I don't know what the county has a position that deals with this. However, the person that was in there, I believe, had some health issues, and now they have somebody new in there, so I don't know what this summer will look like.
Okay.
Anything else for Jason on that? Okay, 9B is discussion and possible action on the fire chief position. Lori, you want to come up? Morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to speak in regards to the fire chief position. Now that the current board decided that the fire chief should be full-time, I believe we have a very capable person in Mark Kane for that position. And I've seen that Mark, make me feel that he does have the heart of a servant, which I believe is very important in any position in public service, which I've always said that I also have. And I'm not bragging, I just think it's very important in public service. With that being said, as a new board member answering to the taxpayers, my main request that I have, because I haven't always believed that that is a full-time position, and there is evidence out there that other communities larger than ours doesn't have full-time or is now becoming part of a district. The main request I have is that of any department, including the fire department, is that we would do whatever is necessary to maintain a tight budget oversight. And I'd like you, Mark, if you are appointed to that position, to serve as a working full-time fire chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I'll, at this point, defer to Jamie. You had some issues, or not issues, but some items came up with the town board on the past Thursday meeting. Do you want to bring that forward as to what the discussion was?
Well, the final piece was just having the position description finalized. That went to town board last week, Thursday. They still had a couple items they wanted to adjust in that position description. I said I would make those changes and it would return back to town board on the 19th. In April, we have a different schedule because of the annual meeting being next week, Tuesday at 6. Regular town board meeting would follow. That agenda item would repeat. Hopefully then, at that point, town board would approve the position description and then it would come to you for recruitment. And I said I'd be willing to help with recruitment on however you would need help, but then the PFC would take over recruitment and selection of the fire chief.
Jamie, is this gonna be like in charge of the whole district? Like, what is that,
No.
Big Flats, Monroe, he's gonna be? No, just to Rome.
Just Rome, yes.
So how you gonna deal with any kind of conflict, who's in charge here?
There isn't any conflict on who's in charge because it's for the fire department and the fire department would only encompass the town of Rome.
But I thought we already agreed upon a fire
EMS.
district.
No, that's only EMS.
EMS, yes. We did have a conversation.
Wasn't there gonna be some kind of a, we're looking into that?
We had a conversation with the two neighboring municipalities about a fire district. At this point, they said it's just not good timing for them. Not that it's a dead issue, not that they didn't want to revisit it in the future, but right now wasn't a good moment for them.
Oh, really? So it's off the table?
At this moment, it's on hold indefinitely.
Okay.
Okay, Mark, you were at the, fire department, or the, town board meeting, this past Thursday, and listened to what the town board had said regarding the position description and requirements. Is there anything in that, what you heard Thursday night, that you are not, that you haven't completed or done?
One of the requirements that looks like it's going to make it in there would be to have a degree in emergency services management. And I believe it's also stated that that would be within 2 years of employment. So I do not currently have a degree in emergency services management, but that is something that is obtainable.
Or fire science. It would be a degree in fire science or emergency services management, or fire officer 1 and 2 plus 10 years of experience.
Lori?
It's 5 years if you have the associate's degree, it's 10 years if you just have fire officer 1 and 2.
Okay.
Again, not approved by town board, but that was the discussion.
Let me ask you this, Mark. Would that 2-year degree be hard for you to obtain, knowing what you know about the fire service and that emergency management service at this point?
I don't feel it would be a significant
I mean,
challenge.
with the current duties that you have, there'd be enough time for you to fulfill that requirement, do you think?
Yes, there would be.
Okay.
So you got 2 years to get this degree or whatever, right?
If I was selected for that position,
Yeah.
I would have 2 years.
How many years have you been here?
I've been with the town of Rome. This is my 6th year,
Okay.
and I have 12 years in the fire service.
There were other 6 years with the town of Big Flats,
Correct.
Yeah.
and with the town of Big Flats, you rose to what position?
I was a captain when I left there.
Lori?
May I ask a
Sure.
How many class hours, do you know how many class hours it is, Mark, that are gonna take you away from the full-time job?
It's a complete online program, so it's things I can do outside of the job, just outside of job time.
You don't have to spend class hours in the
Correct.
You could still work full-time and wouldn't have to delegate a lot of other work that's,
Correct. There'd be no difference in my job time available here in the town, because this would be something that would happen on nights and weekends.
So they're taking in applicants for this job, fire chief?
That's your decision, once it would come to you.
Okay. Personally, I've worked with Mark, like church council, and he's got my backing 100%, because he is very passionate about Rome.
I'm not disagreeing, I think you all wanna be careful on sharing those views until it would return to you for recruitment, and you guys would have an opportunity where it'd be a noticed agenda item to share that.
Alrighty.
Are you gonna remain silent at this point, or do you wanna
Well,
talk about what you talked about to me with?
I guess my comments on it, I was in this position in 2014. Jamie kind of reiterated something, the town board has to make their decision, but I would certainly hope that the criteria that's set for this position is gonna let somebody that's been in the department and advanced in the department advance to be the leader of the department. Not only does it improve morale in the department, that other people look and say, hey, someday I could move up, which keeps people involved with the department. We know what the work product of Mark is. If you go out and recruit and somebody from a suburb of Chicago applies for this position, do they know how the town of Rome Fire Department operates? And I was public safety director when we advertised for the last part-time fire chief, and I can tell you the applicant pool, and I think Mike's aware of it, that's what it was. It was people from municipal, large fire departments. Well, there's a large difference between working for a large, full-time municipal fire department and a volunteer fire department. And if, obviously, it's not this commission's decision, it's the board decision with qualifications, but if you're gonna shut somebody out from volunteer fire departments with educational requirements, I think you're doing the taxpayers here injustice. I guess that's my comments.
Okay. I guess then what I would like to do, hearing what I've heard this morning, is to, wait 2 weeks until such time as the board puts their, requirements, job description together. I guess, Jamie, I would ask, once you get the updated requirements information, how long does it take then to put that job description together so that it can be forwarded to this commission?
The job description would be together at that point. I mean, I could forward you the finalized job description the next day, once it would be voted on by
Okay.
town board.
So then my thought is that we have another meeting, maybe, let me just check once, the Monday. I'm looking at, April 25th. That we would have a closed session discussion then as to the possibility of advertising, the possibility of promoting from within, and whatever else we might feel that needs to be discussed.
what time you want that?
I would say, can you guys come earlier?
Yeah.
Would 8 o'clock work? Okay, how about April 25th?
You're bringing donuts, right?
Well, April 25th at 8 o'clock.
Gotcha.
And Bob, I don't know if you'll be up and about where you could attend or not.
Yeah, I'm on a day-to-day basis, Mike.
Okay, well then if you're not able to get here because of mobility issues, we'll do the same thing we did today as teleconference you in.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Sounds good.
And this is strictly just to discuss the,
That will be the only thing that we really have to worry about will be the closed session for the fire chief. Discussion of possible action on how we're gonna proceed with that position. Lori?
Do you want to forward your comments today through Jamie to the board at that time, because then I'll be seated, or do you want to relay that through a memo?
Well, I think that, I think it's better for you to make an independent decision as to what your requirements and job description are versus hearing our feelings up here.
I think they're important.
Well, they very well could be, and they can all come out one way or another during that closed session that we have several days later after you come up with a job description.
I encourage you all to attend our board meeting that evening then, if you would, please.
And what's the date on that, Lori?
April 19th. The town's annual meeting starts at 6 o'clock, is it, Jamie? And then after that meeting is completed, then the regular town board meeting will convene with the new town board members in place. Okay, is there anything else that we need to discuss on 9B? I think we've kind of did our thing there. Then we're gonna move on to item number 10, which is next agenda items. Greg, I think that the only thing you're gonna have to put on that is the closed session.
Session.
Because then when we get done with the closed session on the 25th, we can then pick a date for our next meeting after
Okay.
that. So the next meeting date and time is April 25th, Monday at 8 a.m. Okay, then item number 12 is the commission to adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 19.85 sub 1 sub C of the Wisconsin State Statutes, which reads, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation, data of any public employee or which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility for the purpose of reviewing complaints about police department members. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Pat, a second.
Motion by Greg, second by Pat. We'll take a roll call vote. Vito?
yay.
I say yes. Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
Greg? Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll be into closed session. Jamie, we don't need you in here. Jason, all I need you to do is get this started for us, and then you can leave as well.